Hi and welcome. I'm Sage Rountree. If we haven't met yet, I'm a yoga teacher and educator, founder of Comfort Zone Yoga. I've been teaching yoga since 2003 and training yoga teachers for more than 20 years. And I'm really glad that you are here catching this tour of my program, Mastering the Art of Yoga Sequencing, a mentorship membership. Here's why I wanted to go live today. There's a particular kind of dread I think a lot of us know well. Maybe it's Sunday night. Tomorrow's class isn't yet planned, and you're staring at a blank page, wondering what on earth you're going to teach in your yoga class. One week, you might wind up overthinking every single pose, every single transition, every single word that's coming out of your mouth. And then, as a result of this over planning, the next week you walk in and you absolutely wing it. I call that the planning confidence cycle, and I built this whole entire program around it to help get yoga teachers like you out of it. This program is called Mastering the Art of Yoga Sequencing. I call it because the subtitle is a mentorship membership. So it has 3 M's, MMM. It's delicious. And this is an open house tour of it. Today, I just wanted to give you a peek behind the scenes, take a look at the 6-month curriculum and how each piece in it builds on the last. I'll show you the movement library that will power your weekly planning. And I'll introduce you briefly to the 2 frameworks the whole thing runs on, so that you can see exactly what's inside before you decide whether it's for you. I'll also talk for a moment about who it's for and who it isn't for. And of course, I have plenty of time at the end for your questions, or you can, as I said, write me info@sagerountree.com or drop them in the comments. Before I share my screen, the one timely thing I want you to know: enrollment for the July 2026 cohort is open right now. This week, the week of June 22nd, it's June 23rd, 2026 right now. Enrollment closes on Sunday, on the 28th at midnight Eastern. And this is the only open house I'm giving before this cohort starts. After Sunday, the next time these doors are going to be open will be for the January to June cohort for 2027. I'm telling you this so you know the reason to join now isn't time pressure. This program is going to be available to you in the future, but it's the group experience, the magic of the cohort. I was just talking with someone who is about to enroll, and we were talking about how it's never the right time. So you at some point need to just think, okay, I'm going to go ahead and say yes. When you enroll this week, you'll start on July 1st with a real group of very sweet, very collegial peers. And you'll move through all 6 months together, which means you'll have a chance almost to relive the magic of what you may have discovered in your 200-hour yoga teacher training, where you get to grow alongside a cohort of yoga teachers and have this shared experience. And that shared experience, that sense of momentum, is the part that you genuinely cannot get if you join later on your own, even though the program is technically always open. There's something special about joining with the cohort. So if you already know you're in, the link is in the description to this video. It is pinned in the chat. It is sagerountree.com/mentorship. Take your seat, and now we'll settle in for a little tour. As you might have deduced from my nickname for this program, it is culinary themed. I hope you'll bear with me on the food metaphors that I like, because I think about planning your class as designing a recipe, a template for a recipe. And when you are a brand new cook, you have to follow the recipe step by step. But as you gain more confidence and facility with each recipe, you get to freestyle. And that's when you can be more responsive on the fly in the preparation of your dishes, or in this case, in the way that you would adjust your sequences, your yoga classes, to suit the very people who you see in front of you in the room. So that's the hook for the program. This is the look inside the Comfort Zone Yoga space. This is my virtual yoga studio focused on teacher development. There is a start here space that you'll see. This is going to walk you through. So when you join, even though the cohort officially starts on July 1st, you'll actually get immediate access to this entire program, and you will have some actions to take at the very beginning. Something called mise en place, which just is about getting yourself set up, getting up to speed. And then I give you an assignment for your first hour, your first day, your first week, your first month in the program. So the Start Here space is here to get you in into the program, give you a good tour of the kitchen, and get you around. Again, there's this kind of concept that you are learning how to cook. You're going to start with my recipes, and then you are going to learn to develop your own. Now, you'll see that not only will you have access to MMM, you also will get access to my yoga teacher class planning membership called the Prep Station. And this is the start here for the Prep Station. This is something that is here to be your support, like your sous chef. And you will find a lot of what we have in everything inside the Prep Station is already in MMM. A lot of what we have inside Mastering the Art of Yoga Sequencing is building on those building blocks that you'll find inside the Prep Station. So if you're already in the Prep Station, I will pause your membership for the next 6 months while we move through this more intensive mentorship program together. Let's keep taking a look around. The lineup is the place where I give the previews and post views of our live calls. There are 2 live calls that we do every month in here, and they also get sent to you not only in a video format, but in a private podcast format as well. And I have extensively annotated the transcripts, so you can come in and read the transcript or jump around in the video or on the podcast if you prefer to listen on the go. Excuse me. Let me walk you through really quickly before I get any deeper into curriculum, what these major frameworks are. In fact, we can go ahead and look inside of the course materials here so you can see where you'll learn these. The first month, obviously, I'm working to get you up to speed. So here you'll have the visual of the S.E.R.V.E method. The S.E.R.V.E method is this framework approach to teaching yoga that I've developed over the last 20-some years of teaching yoga. It goes like this. It's an acronym. S is for structuring your foundation. And I suggest you structure your foundation according to an anatomically evidence-based approach to moving the body through the various planes of motion. I call that 642. If you're familiar with my book, my book called The Art of Yoga Sequencing, that Mastering the Art of Yoga Sequencing is using as its foundational text. There I will go really into detail for you about the 642, but of course we also cover it within this program. The 6 is the 6 moves of the spine, forward, back, side to side, round and round. And the 4 are the 4 lines of the legs, front, back, inside, outside. The 2 are the 2 modes of using your core, either stabilization or articulation. So steady movement or fluid movement. And all of these together constitute the macronutrients of movement. Again, this recipe analogy kind of holds up for us. And we'll come back to these when I show you into the lesson plans that I will be doing for you every month inside the program. The S for structure, 642. The E for experience. I think you know, just like a cook would always taste her dishes before she sends them out of the kitchen, before she serves them to her guests, so should you experience your yoga lesson plans before you teach them. It would be really bad pedagogy to show up for a class and teach something that is not, here, I put myself back on screen, teach something that is not familiar to your own palate. So I will give you follow-along videos of everything that I'm teaching you, and you get to experience them as a student. You can also rewind. You can look at my annotations, lift them, print them out, write them down however you like to write out your lesson plan notes and take them into class with you. Then we work on R, repetition, repeating the sequence over the course of a month or more so that you really know it by heart. You know it in your bones. You free up your capacity to really see the students in front of you, and you will also get your students on board. They get to drop more into their bodies when they have a sense of what's coming next. So that's the R in the S.E.R.V.E method. The V is for vary, vary with intention. I will give you some ways that you can modify this sequence for various physical needs. I'll give you some suggestions on how you might layer on theming or philosophy, messaging in your classes so that even the same base recipe will taste very different week to week and student population to student population. The last E in the S.E.R.V.E method is evolve, and this evolution is what happens when you implement these recipes. You will start to evolve your own authentic voice as a yoga teacher. Here we are in the Essential Techniques for Good Teaching space. So this is the core curriculum inside of, it has 4 modules, which roughly correspond, 6 modules, which roughly correspond with the 6 months that we will be working together in the class. But if you want to jump ahead, if you want to take your time with any one of these, it's really a loose map for you, and you get to eat your way through it on the way that feels good for you. So where we start is seeing clearly where you are now. I have you do some self-assessment exercises, and we work on finding your voice as a yoga teacher. In Module 2, we try to make our classroom as inclusive as possible, ways to include almost everyone in class. We talk about adaptations, modifications, and again, I'm applying these to the lesson plans that I am serving to you over the course of each month. Then in Module 3, instead of trying to include almost everyone in class, we take the other approach and think about how to design for a very specific population, how to solve people's specific problems in the context of a workshop or a private lesson. And if you're familiar with some of my smaller ticket offers called the Workshop Workbook and the Private Lesson Playbook, they're actually little chunks that are carved out of, so you can come in and start with those if you are really excited about building your private lesson practice. If you're really excited about getting workshops on the schedule, you can always jump right ahead to Module 3. Once you've got the including everyone and designing for one person down, then we'll start to think about things you can layer on to help you really find your authentic voice and message as a yoga teacher. Here we'll take a detour into theming. You may be familiar with a couple of my books on yoga theming. The books Teaching Yoga Beyond the Poses and Teaching Yoga Beyond the Poses Volume 2 come into play as we get into theming and authenticity. Then, as we follow this progression between me handing you the recipes and telling you how to prepare them, handing you the lesson plans and suggesting ways that you can teach them, then I start to loosen up my grip on the reins and help mentor you as you start to step into your own comfort and creativity as the designer of your own lesson plans. So I'm here to help you build your own recipe box. I will look at any lesson plan that you send me. I'm happy to talk through themes with you, and we talk about ways that you can find the right balance between consistency and variety over time as a yoga teacher. Finally, at the last portion of the course, as any good mentor would do, I'm trying to set you up for success. We'll talk about what your dream schedule, what your dream career will look like, and I am here to help you with all of that. Here's where I can look at your resume. Here's where I can help you with your website, help strategize your newsletter. If you're interested in offering an online course library, I am excited to work with you on that. So here you get to choose your own adventure and direction, and I will be here to support you as you set course for this next stage in your career. There are a few more spaces in the curriculum side of things here underneath programs that will be available to you as soon as you come in. Here is expanded techniques. So what you'll see in expanded techniques is your on demand. So if there are things that you know you want to see, here's where I will come in and make them for you. Something on website, something on creating your own online course library. Here's where you'll get mentorship that then will help everybody else in your cohort. The Pantry is where I have popped some of my other online courses for you to enjoy in your own timeline. One on sequencing each quarter of class. So if you want to go super deep on sequencing, I have a full 30-hour course for you here. It's not a requirement that you get through all of it, but it is there for you if you want it. Another separate course on professionalism for movement teachers. There we use this concept of relationship as the hook for what we do in our careers as yoga teachers. So I'll help you with your relationship with your colleagues, with your students, with your studio, with money, with the law, with Yoga Alliance, and so on. And we'll go into classroom management and safety. If you're interested in that, that's a course that covers how to handle everything from heart attacks to fart attacks in your yoga class. If you have yoga teacher nightmares like I sometimes do, sometimes I dream that I'm wearing a dress and I'm trying to model downward facing dog with a raised leg. Not quite sure what that means, but that's the kind of scenario I think going through the classroom management and safety course will help you feel more comfortable with. And then there's a content creation course. So if you're like thinking, I think I should do a little bit more to up my online presence, the content creation course is here to help you, as is Minimalist Instagram for yoga teachers, which you don't see in the sidebar right here, but it is part of the program for you here. It's another one of my standalone courses. So that takes you through the curriculum side of things. Let's take a look inside the recipe box. This is where you will spend a lot of time at the beginning of your time in Use this as a model and then start to develop your own plans inside the program. So the recipe box has a series of cards, recipe cards, And I alternate month to month, whether they are like a straight up flow class, more of a slow flow class, more of a mellow class, or more of a mixed bag class. So you'll see right here that there are a lot of different examples. And let's just look at the most recent one. This is what folks in the current program are working on here in June 2026. It's a program of moon salutations. And there are a lot of different approaches to moon salutations. The way I teach them, it's a lateral flow that goes side to side facing the long edge of the mat. So what you'll find are links to a follow along video. Let's go ahead and click just so you can see. Click over and check. Yes, good. That's loading for you. So this is what the moon salutations video looks like. It gives you a list of everything you would need to know about it. You can expand it, make it big, follow along. You can speed it up or slow it down. You can turn the closed captions on or off. You can search through the transcript even. But I have extensively annotated it here for you. So this is probably more than you would ever want to print out and take into your class with you. However, this is going to give you a sense of every ingredient, every step that goes into it. And the more time you spend with these recipes, with these lesson plans, the more cohesive they're going to feel. Just like a cook would know what first you make a mirepoix or a roux means, you're going to be like, okay, yeah, we're going to do 6 moves of the spine, leg extended, and that will have a particular meaning to you once you've taught it a few times. So that is the example of what that looks like, the follow along. And then I show you the constituent parts so that you can take a look at them. Then we go through and talk about ways that you can adapt this recipe, ways that you can vary it based on who is in the room, some ways that you can offer modifications and different expressions of each pose. I also give you some ways that you can iterate this over time so you can repeat it while changing just a little so that it feels fresh, it never feels stale, but it also feels like there is a coherent through line for your students and for your own teaching brain as you move through. I also add some extra videos to each of these lesson plans. One is me to the camera with a few demonstrations of what these variations are, because sometimes a video is worth 10,000 words. And then another one is from our recipe implementation call. So we have 2 monthly calls inside the program. One is an implementation call. It starts with me guiding a little bit of movement out of the monthly featured sequence. So you get to come and be a student in a live setting for just 10 or 15 minutes. So that's what you see on screen right now. And then we go into about half an hour of just heads down co-working. That's where you could annotate the sequence, iterate the sequence. That's where you could modify the sequence to suit the kind of classes that you uniquely teach. And we then get together in the last 15 minutes of the hour and share what we learned. I love these calls. They are a blast. The second call we have every month is a wide open call called Teacher's Lounge. And in there, we show up and talk about whatever is on your mind. You may have noticed in the lineup space, which is the announcement space, I always put out a call for like, what is on your mind this month? We'll start with people who asked questions, and then we go into a free-form conversation. And these conversations are so much fun. As yoga teachers, it can be really easy for us to feel quite siloed and separated, and yoga means connection and union. I don't want you to feel that kind of siloedness and separation. So this is like hanging out in a teacher's lounge that yoga studios don't typically have. It's also great to spend time with peers in your cohort who do not work in your local market, because they'll have different ideas about the politics of your local yoga scene, about other opportunities that you may not have connected to for yourself. Having this national and international group, because we've had folks in this program from Holland and Canada and Alaska. I know Alaska is part of the US, but it still feels far-flung to me. Hawaii. Having these peers from around the world really gives you an interesting view into what happens inside your career and in the yoga world writ large. So you will go through all of this with this fantastic group. Every month you will still get this absolutely full sequence. However, you also can freestyle. You can help yourself to a different sequence, a different lesson plan from this recipe box. If you only teach more gentle styles, you will still find 6 months of sequences in here for you. And yes, I do take requests. So if there is something that you read in my book, The Art of Yoga Sequencing, that you would like to see developed into a fuller lesson plan, or any other kind of requests you have, I welcome those. They really ignite my teaching creativity brain, and I would be happy to write you a lesson plan by request. My only ask then is that you don't just use it once, that you really take it, repeat it, evolve it, and make it your own. So let's see, we have taken a look in the recipe box. Let's take a quick detour through the theming area. This is all of the themes from my 2 books on yoga class theming, plus a few little extra bonuses. And these are divided up, as are the lesson plans, with cards at the top that help you decide, is this going to be more uplifting or rajasic? Is this going to be more relaxing or tamasic? Or is this more of a balancing sequence that's more sattvic, a more sattvic message to layer onto my class? And each of these is going to walk you through everything. So we'll just click into one and you'll see that there is very much like you have in your in the books themselves, a little blurb about what this theme means to me, some suggestions for chants or poems or songs that you can include in class, and some things that you could take verbatim or modify however you like and put into your own classes. So that is what you see inside of the theming cart. Let me look at my notes here for a second. Make sure that I've shown you everything I think is important. I hope you can see here that you're never planning from a blank page. That Sunday night feeling of, what am I going to teach? And that sway between the 2 poles of the planning confidence cycle, where you overplan, then underplan, and then overplan again and underplan again, that will not happen to you anymore once you come into this program. I am here to hold your hand, to keep you steady, to help you find the right dial between consistency and variety, between having planned enough and making sure that you haven't planned too much so that you feel stultified. This is how you really gain your confidence as a yoga teacher. And once you cross over that line into making the front of the room your comfort zone, your students are going to know it. Your energy is going to shift and your classes are going to fill up. One more quick thing that I want to show you from my notes. It is the movement library that lives inside of the prep station, as well as Mastering the Art of Yoga Sequencing. This actually, I think I've been saying it has 180 videos, but I think it actually has more than 200 videos in it at this point. And these include both some recent things like this moon salutations video that I recorded just last month, and some older classes that I taught live to students, some classes that I taught live online, some classes that I taught live in teachers' intensives. So you've got a good mix of both asynchronous and synchronously recorded classes, and each of them will be annotated as well. So starting again in September, while you're in I will be teaching 3 months of live Monday night classes. You are invited to those to see how I would iterate a sequence over the course of 4 weeks. We'll actually do 3 weeks and a video. So that would be like a fixed one and then 3 variations on it. So what you'll see here is the recipe, the movement library card for this. And just like you saw for the moon salutations, everything is very annotated. It is all stuff that you can literally copy and paste. And within the prep station, there's an interactive lesson planner that is an app that I built that lets you take any of these sequences and very quickly pop them in to a lesson plan that you can then literally save as a PDF or print out and take into your class. So there is so much in here. Hopefully this isn't overwhelming you. I am here to make sure that you know the first thing to do, the second thing to do, and so on as we go. So you'll practice this for yourself here in the library, and then you will start to serve it to your own students in your lesson plans. Then, of course, there are some community spaces. There's some really sweet support for you here. In the program, there's a unique Q&A space for the program, but there's also the general space where Ask a Question happens. We have a special space in here called Tasters Please, because while it's very good for you to get my feedback, it's even better if you can get your peers' feedback. And here's where you are going to take back what you put in. The more you invest in sharing and opening yourself to hearing some feedback from your peers, the more quickly you're going to improve as a teacher, because other yoga teachers can give you the best feedback completely. Here's Natalie, who is just finishing up her time in the program, and she's sharing her goals moving forward. That's something that we then went on to talk about in the Teachers Lounge call in June. So you will have these unique spaces available to you, and you'll be able to get all kinds of really great feedback and peer review in there. As I said, the prep station is also included, so you'll get that as well. Let's take a moment. Let me bring myself back up on the big screen. Let's take a moment and talk through exactly who this is for and who it's not for, so that you know what the commitment is and whether you're a good fit. The program is for you if you have your 200-hour training. And if you don't have your 200-hour training, thank you for watching this far. Come take my 200-hour training at Comfort Zone Yoga. It is also currently open for enrollment. That one works with the curriculum made available to you ahead of time. We are currently in that period. And then between September and November 2026, we'll meet twice a week for live calls to talk about what you're learning, to get you up to speed on practice teaching. It's a whole lot of fun. But for those of you who are the best fit for MMM, you will have already done your 200 and you will be teaching. Maybe you've been teaching for a few months. Maybe you've been teaching for several years. Either one is fine. You feel tired of planning from scratch. You want a system you trust, more than just earning another certificate. And sometimes you just wish somebody would do it for you. Great news. I will do it for you, and then I will teach you how to do it for yourself. So you'll get that itch scratched of like, oh, I just wish I didn't have to think. And then I will encourage you to build your confidence in your own planning. If you haven't done the 200-hour yet, then it's not for you. If you are very set in your ways, then it's not for you. I don't know why you would still be watching this YouTube live video half an hour into me going on if you feel like you wouldn't be able to learn from me, or there's nothing fresh that you can introduce. But if you had those feelings, this would be your sign. This won't be for you. The time commitment here, it's going to be an hour or two a week at minimum. If you are hungry to learn a lot, you can go through those other spaces that I showed, the expanded space and the pantry space. So if you really are thirsty to learn, you can come through and do all of that. That's absolutely fine. You can do this on your phone. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the Comfort Zone Yoga space on your phone, but everything in there works out really well on the phone, or you can do it on desktop. So even if you work a day job, you could do this on your lunch break, and that would be enough time for you to benefit immensely from the program, from my support over the course of the next 6 months. And you don't have to finish your 300-hour YTT with me to benefit from that program. It is fully half of the Comfort Zone Yoga 300-hour training, but you do not need to go on and continue the rest. Let's talk about the terms of the program. It's $1,800 paid in full, or you can make 3 payments of $600. So there's no interest, there's no extra charge if you choose the installment plan. I do offer a 30-day conditional guarantee. The conditions are these: complete the Module 1 exercises. That is going to require taking a good hard look at where you are as a teacher. Come to one of the live calls or show me that you really have engaged with the recording. Remember, I'll give you the recording both in video format and in private podcast format, and really well annotated. And if after that you feel like your confidence hasn't grown, I will give you a full refund. The cohort begins on July 1st. So it is just about time to make up your mind about this. If you are watching live and you have any questions at all, please pop them in the chat. I would be delighted to come through and answer them for you. Let me answer some questions that I know folks historically have had about this program. One is this: will I actually use this program when I'm already feeling overwhelmed as a yoga teacher? Like, I already am spending 3 hours planning a class. Yes, you should 100% come into this program, because I will take some of that work off of your shoulders. I will hand you a lesson plan that you can teach not just once, but over the course of a month, with a few minor variations that keep it exciting for you and interesting for your students, while giving both you and your students the consistency that you dearly need, so that you can feel confident and less overwhelmed every time you walk in to teach, every time you sit down to plan. So don't worry about that. If you're feeling the time crunch, this will actually turn out to be a time saver for you. If you have the feeling that you think somebody's going to catch you out as not being a real yoga teacher or not feeling confident, this is exactly the kind of program that is here for you. That feeling is so common, it's almost a rite of passage for yoga teachers. It is not a verdict on your teaching. This fraud feeling can show up the loudest right after your YTT when you haven't gotten the reps in, and I am here to hold your hand through it. That fraud feeling, the imposter syndrome, can also show up when you know a ton of theory but haven't yet built the reps. And what gets rid of the fraud feeling is stepping into it wholeheartedly and repeating a structure that you can trust. I am here to give you examples of that structure that you can trust, and then to teach you to develop your own take on this structure. If you find yourself in the overthinking, over-planning side of the planning confidence cycle, know that overthinking is what happens when you don't have a container at all. Every choice feels so infinite, so you agonize over every single one of them. My 642 framework is going to give you a finite and reliable set of decisions. Is my sequence, is each quarter of the class hitting these targets? Is it taking the spine through flexion, extension, lateral flexion, and rotation? Is it targeting the 4 lines of the legs? Is it accessing the 2 modes for the core engagement? If so, check done, move on. No more need to overplan. So you'll go from wondering, like, what on earth do I teach today, to which of these recipes do I want and how am I going to adapt it? And let me take the extra time that I just freed up to enjoy these as a student myself. Because let's be honest, the first thing that goes by the wayside when you get too busy over planning your lesson is you lose your time to practice. And that is a shame, because your practice is the wellspring of your teaching. Studenthood is the bedrock foundation of a good teacher. So that is a non-negotiable. I am here to guide you. I am here to encourage you to get back to your own studenthood, to take classes in your local area, to share classes with each other so you can learn from each other within the cohort. It's fantastic. Another thing that I sometimes hear from folks who are thinking about the program is that they walk in like with so many notes that they worry they sound like a robot, like they're reading a lecture to their students, or they really, really want to deliver a theme in class, but they find themselves looking at the paper more than looking at their students. I am here to help you with that confidence as well. Because clinging to your notes is a symptom of not having confidence. It's not a personality trait. It's something you can overcome. And it will get easier the very moment that you have felt the sequence in your bones, in your own body first, when you've practiced it more than once. And that's that first E in S.E.R.V.E, the experience step. You will follow along as a student before you ever teach the sequence, and the words will come from deep in your bones instead of from your index card or your phone or whatever you're bringing in for your notes. Again, back to the time crunch issue. If you feel like planning eats your whole week, or you have a full-time job, or even that you've been away from teaching, this is a great program for you, because if your lesson planning is taking up hours, the problem usually is not you. It's that blank page that stares back at you. And with this recipe box that you'll get inside of the program, you can open the box, choose your ingredients. You could even go into the movement library and choose through kind of like piece by piece, course by course, and mix up your own class. I'm going to save you a lot of time inside this program. And then you're going to take what you learned from me and put your own spin on it. And that's how you're really going to step into your evolved voice as a teacher. That's how your classes are going to feel. That's how you're going to feel like a success no matter what you get paid as a yoga teacher. You're going to feel like you have created some really high professional standards for yourself and that you are living up to them. And again, that creates this positive spiral, this positive feedback loop of confidence that your students are going to feel, even if they couldn't quite name, wow, she got a lot more confident over the course of the next 6 months. If you are feeling a little overwhelmed still by lesson planning, you don't know where to start, let me tell you, you start by not starting from the blank page. You start by not starting from scratch. You get your Bisquick down. You don't have to make the pancakes from scratch. And I will give you the recipes. And for the first few months, you might wind up teaching my recipes, the fully done for you recipes, and just getting in the reps, following my lesson plans. That's absolutely fine. The consistency will come from repeating a good plan and not from inventing a brand new one from scratch every week. Then eventually I'm here to take the training wheels off and help you get up to speed with sequencing your own classes really well. And you'll get up to speed with pacing and safe cueing and layering on the messages. This is the craft. This is the craft side of teaching yoga. And like any other craft, like cooking, like playing a musical instrument, speaking a language, it is completely learnable. We have this deep structure, this framework of the 642, and that gives us the logic, the 6 movements of the spine, the 4 lines of the hip, the 2 core modes. We hit those and the body will move safely and completely. Your students will feel like your class was balanced. And then we layer onto that pacing and cueing, and they get their own attention as you go on, as you get more facility with the recipes. This is all going to create that positive upward spiral. Maybe you feel like pretty good about the lessons that you plan, but you feel like they don't have a through line week to week because you have been leaning too far toward the show up and wing it side of the planning confidence cycle. This is also for folks who are in that camp, because the fix for one-off classes that don't feel like they have the through line is not continuing to do one-off classes. It is instead to choose one base sequence that you will commit to for a period of time and then keep going with that one base sequence. Vary it on purpose so that no more than 25% of your class changes week to week. Another analogy I think that holds here is like almost like the building blocks for a house, Lincoln logs, was what we used to use in my youth. And you could build a log cabin from Lincoln logs, but you could also build like a little cottage or something that looked more like a ranch house or a loft house or a grand manor house, using the same constituent blocks, but arranging them in a different way. And this is going to be really helpful to your students because they'll have something to build on week to week instead of starting over and feeling new every single time because you were changing your lesson plans too frequently. Sometimes folks come into the program. I loved teaching yoga beyond the poses. I want to be able to elevate my classes with theming and inspiration and messaging, but I feel artificial when I do it. It feels a little cheesy, or I don't feel like I found my voice on this yet. Your theme stops feeling cheesy when it is woven in, when it is baked into the structure instead of just being slapped on top of it. So we'll spend that whole module 4 inside your 6 months with me on theming with confidence, on finding your personal, actual, unique voice, on not just imitating your own favorite teacher. So hopefully this has addressed many of the questions that you have. If I haven't hit them, please come back and ask me in the comments. Write me at info@sagerountree.com. You can send me a message at Comfort Zone Yoga. If you're still on the fence and you want to learn a little bit more from me, remember the Zone at Comfort Zone Yoga is a completely free space. It has over 2,800 teachers in there. You could come and ask for a testimonial in there. You can also read some testimonials on the page at sagerountree.com/mentor. At sagerountree.com/mentorship. You can come and learn about what other people who have come through the program have said from the beginning to the end about the transformation that you can expect when you come in and pay attention to the craft of building a well-balanced, well-messaged, well-reasoned class and letting its effects compound over time with repetition that strikes the right balance between consistency and variety that gets you out of that planning confidence cycle, that gets you into the positive spiral that will build that confidence that gives you that it quality, that X factor as a yoga teacher that not only fills your classes, but has your students eager to learn from you. I know you've had a teacher like that in the past, or you wouldn't have become a yoga teacher of your own. You will be drawing your students closer to themselves, closer to union, closer to liberation when you come and work on your craft, on your confidence, on your ability to really serve the students who are in front of you. So I'll remind you that the card is open right now. You can come and join Mastering the Art of Yoga Sequencing right this minute. Access the curriculum immediately. Join your peers in our 2 monthly calls. We start again July 1st. Your access will continue just past the start of the new year. The card is open until June 28th. That's this coming Sunday at 11:59 Eastern. If you're catching this video after the fact, just let me know. I can open a side door for you. But after that, the next time that this kitchen will open as a cohort building will be the waitlist building to open in December for a start in January of 2027. But if you join right now, you're going to wind up 6 months ahead of where you'd be if you just kind of drag your feet and go on swinging between the two poles of over planning and winging it, over planning and winging it, spending a lot more time on your lesson planning than on your personal practice, come join me right now and we can make things so much easier as of today. If part of you has been waiting for the right moment to stop winging your lesson plans or stop over planning and start creating with intention, hopefully this calendar has made the decision simpler for you. I think this is a great time to come on in, sagerountree.com/mentorship. And I'll leave you with the question that I would ask if you and I were sitting down over coffee or tea, talking it over. Where do you want to be 6 months from now? Do you still want to be caught in that cycle between spending your entire Sunday agonizing over your Monday class? Or do you want to be working from a proven recipe book? Do you want to walk into class knowing that the sequence is going to land with your students, knowing you're going to see your students moving ahead of your cueing because they like it so much? And if that's where you want to be in 6 months, well, this is the perfect time to come through to the link in the description, the link pinned in the chat, sagerountree.com/mentorship. Take your seat, and I will see you on the inside.